hello. Alrighty, folks, hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm joined today by the orange square that is Tim Shields. Tim's camera is not working, and
Hi, everybody.
technology isn't doing what we want, but you should be able to hear him. So we're going to go ahead and live with this technology that we have in front of us today. Um,
Actually, we're going to live with the old guy who can't figure out how to. I think I'm going to go cuss at clouds and chase kids off my yard next, really.
I mean, it's very likely that the problem is with the cloud. So Custonet Clouds is appropriate here.
Actually, that was really clever of you. Hey, what are we doing today on this call?
We're
Like, are
being
we gonna
clever
we
and
going
going
on
on
a tangent?
tangents. That is
And
all we're here for.
okay, well, as long as they're here for it too.
No, today we're going to talk about our past year, what we're looking at in the next year. We're going to talk a little bit about upcoming judge leagues. I think those are the big hits. Uh, but if folks have any questions, as always, happy to talk about them. I know there will probably be a few questions about the updated policy that just came out. Um, Covered most questions in the, I think, about 10 or 11 hours or 12 hours or 13 hours of broadcasts that I did cover in those. But if you have questions about it, feel free to bring them up, and I can go on an hour-long tangent about whatever it happens to be. Um, but let's just
Excellent.
dive on into today's content. Tim, where do we
Okay.
want to start?
Actually, you know what? Let's just give. Is there anybody in the chat even?
Oh, yeah, we
Uh,
got some people in the chat.
okay, let's just throw out to them and see if they have any questions they want to get knocked out. Because the the piece that you mentioned about all the updates, we should probably just like if there's anything in back of people's minds they want to get answered, let's get that done and get it out of the way. Anybody?
I'm not seeing anything.
Bueller? Bueller? Okay, great. Okay, so here's what we want to do in terms of agenda today. Um, and like always, our agenda, we have an agenda in case more interesting things, in case anything more interesting doesn't happen, we have an agenda to fall back on. And Mr. McCheesy, yes, we have some cool news for you. So our agenda starts with we're going to do a report in on where we're at right now with a little bit of Jonah forecasting where we're going in the future. Then we're going to talk to everybody about the Judge League, which I, for one, am super, uh, where I am super excited about that. We're going to talk briefly about kits in Europe and all of that good stuff. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to do today. But hey, we've got a question.
We do have some questions. DeCaniel asks, how happy are you with this year, and do you have any news about the last positions open that we can share?
Yep,
Um,
I got some for that. Why don't you do the one below that? Where do I
yeah,
submit
this
my
is Robo
ambassador?
Joe says, where do I submit my ambassador message to allow me to take the test? So it's a two-step process. First, you're going to search yourself in the user search, click on your name, and write a review about yourself. Um, then, once you have written a review for yourself, you're going to go to your profile, click View My Applications, and then apply for the ambassador role. So you have to write the self review and submit it, and that attaches it to your account so that you can view it. And then you need to separately submit it for verification and review through your applications portal on your profile so that I can see it, because I do not see reviews unless they are explicitly shared with me.
Okay, so that was the answer to that. Thank you,
Yep.
Jonah. And then, are you happy with the year? So Daniel's question, and I think it's a super fair question, and I really wish I wasn't a pulsing orange circle, but I am what I am. And so
Okay, do you want
the
the short answer or the very long answer?
well, actually, I'm going to give the short answer, and you're giving the long answer.
Okay.
Okay, overall happy. I think happy or unhappy. I think it's easy to say I'm happy. Letter grade for where we're at. I'm going to give it a B. Okay. I don't think this has been, with all due respect to Jonah, I can't give myself or give our team an A plus, but I think we've done a really solid job. Okay. Um, we went from, and obviously we started before the year end, so it's not just 2025, but at this point, with a game, the game's doing well. We've got over 100 level twos. We've got more than 500 L1s. And I don't know how many, but we've got a metric ton of apprentices. We also, in terms of content, You know, we've got we've got a robust judge programs full of content. And not that I would ever want to, but if we had to stop now, we've got the bulk of it created, right? We're in a nice place with that. We've got the scorekeeping, level one scorekeeping is live. We've got ambassador training as well. And Jonah, is it fair to say, instead of me doing this ridiculous, we're very close? Can I just say we are days from going live with the translated tests? Is
Uh,
that a fair way of saying it?
I think that's fair to say. No more than a week or two, I believe.
I like how you added the or two just
It
to give yourself a
it
little
is
wiggle room.
dependent on the availability of our developer, and during the holiday season, there's crunch time at work and personal life going on, and so I cannot make guarantees for somebody else.
But we're very close.
We are very close.
And we actually have the translated tests in hand for almost everybody right now, right?
Yes, I think we're missing just the last few level 2 questions for a couple of languages. Um, but other than that, the core 300 questions for Apprentice L1 and L2 have been translated into French, Spanish, Italian, and German.
So that's pretty awesome. Okay. And by the way, um, I just think the idea of you going to Canada in February is just a brutal concept, but I'm willing to fund it if I get video of you in a lightsaber and swoo battle.
So that's great because I was planning on going there anyways because there's a tournament for another card game up there. So if my travel's free, sign me up.
I retract everything I said. I actually I really want the video, so
We'll
we'll
see.
talk about it
We'll figure
offline.
it out. Yeah.
Um, we're how do I say this without causing a bunch of hassle? The other piece to the question is where are you at in terms of hiring a subject matter expert or two? And I would say well, how do I say this? I'm not happy with where we're at. Um, and there are sometimes business challenges that come along that complicate things. And I think that's as much as is prudent to say, other than I expect to be doing this soon, but I don't have an actual day. And by the way, no, getting sabers across the border can't be hard,
Oh,
right?
very easy. They do ask me every time I cross the border if I'm bringing any weapons, and I'm pretty sure if I say I have some prop lightsabers, they'll be like, those aren't weapons, those are sticks made out of plastic. This is fine.
Jonah, where's your 3D printing project?
It's in the other room.
Are you going to go grab it and show it off?
No, it's not done yet. I need to finish it before I can show it off.
Okay, tell them what it is though.
I've printed and painted most of an Amban pulse phase rifle, also more commonly known as the Mandalorian sniper rifle.
What you cited everything there. That was pretty good. So,
That's what I do. Uh,
and did you make a little tiny one for your miniature figures?
I have not. I made a little normal sized one for me. It's a lot of fun to have. But
And by that, by normal size, you mean like 12 inches or
it's like
24 inches or some
four and a
Ho
half,
scale or
five
whatever?
feet long. Yeah,
How many feet?
4.5 or 5. It's not a short gun.
No, no, it is not. No, it is not. Okay. So let's see. Where are we at?
McFerguson asks clarification. The holdup in hiring the subject matter expert, and by extension, the video producer role for Nexus is business complications, nothing to do with interested applicants.
Oh, nothing at all. Oh God, no. I'm so sorry if in any way I put that out. No, there are we have more applicants than is easy to dig through, and the applicants are the pool of applicants are absolutely stellar. You um and yes, the fact that you didn't apply, that is probably what the holdup is. Um, yes, the yeah, no, It's entirely on the Tim and business side, not the applicant side at all. And I apologize if I did anything to confuse that. Okay.
So that's the short answer.
What's that?
You said you were going to take the short answer of how we felt we did this year.
That was the short answer. It's complicated, people. Um, we've done well. We're we're really overall very pleased.
Yeah.
Okay, what else should we say?
I mean, over the course of the we launched exams in December of last year on the website itself, and I have better data tracking there than I did previously. Um, with that information in hand, at the end of last year, we had something like 20 L1s just because it launched in mid December and a lot of people didn't have their endorsements there. So, pretty much all of the stats we have are strictly from 2025. And we've had over 7,000 exams taken across the variety of exams that we have. I think that this program has gone from something that has potential to one of the most robust existing TCG judge programs on the planet. While there are other programs that may have more judges, have been around longer, um, the we have 500 questions in our exam pool across all of our exams, and I am anticipating growing those and expanding that foundation. We have a significant. We have some variety in certification levels. We have every exam has enough questions for at least 2 full exams to be taken before somebody sees repeat question. For the L1 exam, you can take it, I believe, 6 times before you'll see a repeat question, which is a year's worth of testing for L1, which means that the testing process is, I think, more robust than many other places. We have uh, over 50 lessons for judges for level 1, level 2, um, for apprentices, ambassadors, scorekeepers. We have an ambassador and scorekeeper program, which, as far as I know, don't really exist elsewhere in the TCG space. Um, we have a lot of content, and we are hitting what we're close to, but have not yet reached what I feel is a minimum viable product. Like, we're getting close to my minimum standard. We're not up to where I want to be with our standards yet. I think I'd push for a B plus over a B, but I'm very happy with the progress that we've had over the last year. I would love to have the team expand a little bit. Something that happens very frequently is we launch something, either a lesson or some other project, either a certification process or something along those lines. And folks give us some feedback on this is inaccessible for these reasons, or these requirements feel a little bit arcane or arbitrary. And having more experts on the team, having people that I'm able to work with and develop these rather than mostly developing them in a vacuum, means that the products, our initial products, are going to be of higher quality, which means that when we get around to having a final product, that's going to be higher quality. Um, Also, our promos have gotten better. Our merch kits have gotten better. Um, I remember driving back from some event and launching the first wave of merch kits, and then having to, like, I pulled off to a rest stop to launch that first wave of merch kits, and then I was there for 2 hours dealing with stuff. Now it's launch the merch kit, answer a couple questions for 15 minutes that are not, hey, this is a problem, but hey, I didn't read the whole text post, so can you just copy and paste the thing that you said a minute ago so that I don't have to scroll up? And then the questions are done. And it,
Sorry, I snorted there, but yes.
the process has improved dramatically. There's still room for improvement. And I think our offerings still have room for improvement. It's not perfect, but it is so much better than it was a year ago. The promos look incredible. I'm not looking at the camera right now because I have the Secrets of Power promos on my desk and they're distracting me because the art is so good. We're getting very cool cards. I mean, it has nothing to do with the Judge program, but getting HK47 as a Judge promo and Ogdo Bogdo, those delight me. Um, that isn't anything we did; those were gifts to us. Um,
But still, and having one of the best cards in the set is also, Queen Amidala is just awesome.
oh yeah, Theta Gamma says, "Hey Jonah, let me see them cards. I'll show them on my webcam. It's gonna be grainy and out of focus, um, but we can just show off these beautiful cards. Let's see if I can get them in
Actually,
focus.
they're not particularly grainy, really.
There we
They
go.
look
They are so pretty. These are the ones that are in my Judge League pool. And we can talk about Judge League now. Unless we want to talk more about
Actually,
the
hold on, Jonah.
years.
I got to do a thing before we go to that. Just in fairness, though, if those were the things we were being graded on, then I'd give us an A. The problem, but we should disclose the things that where we're struggling. Okay,
Sure.
website looks like ass,
Yep.
just does. Website looks kind of like a website from the late '90s.
I mean, right now I have on my other tab updates to the resources and homepage that are not going to change the way it looks because I'm not our graphic designer, but it's going to improve the layout and flow, and we're working on making that better. But yeah, that's
And
definitely an
then
area of improvement.
and then, as long as we're grading fairly, the lack of a judge shirt is an F,
Yep.
and the attempts to make merch work in Europe, although they are much better right now, I think we were pulling somewhere between a D and an F there. And so when I'm evaluating, but honestly, Jonah, the stuff you've done has just been fantastic. It really has. And we have a very good, robust program. And the most important piece is the community. And that
Oh
one's great.
yeah. I mean, I we have some hand in that. We have some hand in forging the community and forging the direction,
Some.
but not a lot. This community is great. This
And by the way, something just everybody should know. I occasionally engage in like mindless pleasantries, like how, have a nice day or how you're doing fine. I do a little bit of that. I do not give false compliments, period. I do not say, oh my gosh, what a great crowd it is today. Our community around this game is absolutely amazing.
oh yeah. Like
Just is.
people have a level of maturity and respect and care for each other in the game that I do not see in a lot of other predominantly online ecosystems. Um,
Sure. Yes. Okay. But having said that, now let's get to the Judge League.
yes. You want to talk
Okay.
about the broad spectrum thing and then I can get into the details?
That seems like the natural way to do that. Um, and although, one of the people in the chat commented that our website looks like how it would look in the original trilogy. And although that would have more style points than what we have, but
Yes.
it's getting better. Okay. So I want to remind everybody of like Tim's basic philosophy on promos. I almost call them foils, but some of them weren't even foiled, right? They definitely have gotten better. My philosophy is that the purpose of promos is to build the community. Okay. And as I have pointed out to folks and asked for input on this, anything that you come up with within the realm of reason, I mean, I'm certainly going to listen, right? There's all kinds of issues of can we do it, but I'm a fan of. Okay. And so Jonah and I were talking about the, I don't know, kind of obvious reality that if you want to facilitate a community of trading card game players, you would probably want them to, well, be playing a trading card, right? That is not, in fact, the most amazing insight ever. But armed with that insight, what we came up with was, let's get some cards, let's get some packs, let's combine that with promos and give people a way to get promos and play together in a way that's super super fun and will build the community. Couple features of that include, uh, and I very much think of this one, by the way, as a test. It's not that this is the first league I've run. It is not the first time doing something like this, but Star Wars sometimes surprises me. Um, so yeah, uh, oh crap, Jonah, I was going to show everybody the playmat today.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh no.
And do you have the graphic for the Jonah playmat with the purple border now?
I have it somewhere. I can see if I can get it set up to show folks.
Yeah, because we decided that, actually Scott
We.
decided, uh, everyone but Jonah decided that as good as a Jonah playmat is, it needs a sci-fi feeling purple border to just make it great. And so I've got a box with 8 playmats sitting in my living room, ready to send out to the winners of this league.
Yeah. It'll take me a minute or two to pull it up.
Yeah, well, let's jump into it as we go along. Um, so the one of the things that I really like in leagues, is cards to change hands. It makes it more fun for people, um, and I don't like systems where you have a. Sorry if. Wait, I'm apologizing for being distracted on camera, and my camera's down. But I'm going to do the distraction anyway. My daughter was showing me the cheetah cam from the National Zoo. So you go to Google Smithsonian cheetah cam, and you get to see the mommy and baby cheetah at the zoo. They're snuggly. It's so cute. Okay. Meanwhile, back at our show, I like cards to trade hands when people play us in a league because it keeps things fresh and fun. It also gives us this really fun way to compute league points where everybody signs their cards, including the cards that are being exchanged. And so every time, because so essentially a signature that's not yours in your deck turns into a victory point. Um, so I think that's super cool. And this allows us to avoid the problem of playing for literal ante, which is if you have a strong deck and I have a weak deck and the winner gets a card, then the winner just gets stronger and stronger, and eventually a league falls apart because it's no fun. So, having said that, we've avoided all of that. Jonah, get into the rules.
Before we get into the rules, does the playmat have the word judge on it or no? Which version did we end up going with?
No, I think. Hey, Claire, would you go grab me that box? I'm gonna check.
All right, because I have it pulled up with judge on it. You know what? I'm just going to show off the playmat for a moment. Um, and it may or may not have the word judge, but it's going to be this. I I did not choose this. I want to be clear that I did not choose this.
You didn't even know about it.
I at some point was like, yeah, you can do that, Tim. Nobody's going to care about it. It's not going to be a thing. It's a thing. Um,
Told you so.
yeah, I know. But that is going to go to top 8 or top 4. Um, so,
Top four in Europe, top four in the United States.
yes. Um, let's talk.
I'm sorry. There are other countries as well. Sorry, Canada. I apologize for pissing you off.
Yes. Let's talk about what Judge League looks like. So, in the Judge League general chat in Discord, we have an outline of the initial draft of the rules. You're going to get 4 Secrets of Power booster packs, 4 Secrets of Power Carbonite booster packs, and one of each of the Judge promos from Secrets of Power. These lovely cards, if we can get them into focus again. Um, and then you're going to build your normal limited deck. You're going to have more cards in your pool.
Claire?
Um, and so you're going to build your standard 30 card deck. You're going to find judges and battle them. You're going to be playing against people in person because, as Tim mentioned, an important part of any match you play for the Judge League is exchanging the cards with somebody else. You can play games online over your webcam and figure out how to exchange cards else some other method than handing it to the person seated across from you. But in general, the goal is to get people to play each other in person and then exchange cards. The default will be players exchange cards at the end of the match. Um, the winner gets a random card from their opponent, and the loser gets a card of the winner's choice out of their deck. However, we don't really care what method you use. If you're like, I don't want to like lose these cards. I open a very pretty card that I want to play with but don't want to lose. You can agree before you start playing that you're just going to trade a pair of cards at the end. However, for a card to be played in the league, it needs to be signed by the owner. Uh, if you trade the card, needs to be signed by the person receiving it. So every single card in the league will have the signature of everybody who has been in possession of it throughout the league, and that's what we're going to be using to track our leaders. We're not going to actually track how many people you play, but it's going to be how many signatures you're able to acquire. And so even if you're not able to go to large events and play a lot of people, if you're able to play somebody who was at those events and are able to get signatures that they collected from them, you'll be able to climb that leaderboard. This is very experimental, but we want to make sure that you're not incentivized to cheat. I don't expect judges to cheat, but if it's you get a cool and valuable prize for winning more games, there is an incentive there. If it is you get a cool and valuable prize for engaging with more judges and hanging out with more judges, that's it's hard to cheat at that. Worst case scenario, you hang out with more judges, which is what we're trying to incentivize. Um, but we have a couple different offerings for this kit. Tim, do you want to talk about what those merch kits actually entail, or do you want me to talk about it?
You know what? You're on a roll. And besides, you can flash the cards.
Yeah. So we have the full kit that comes with the 8 booster packs and the promos, and that's going to be available only in the United States. However, a lot of people are like, hey, you said you have a limited number of these, and or not, I'm in Europe. How can I want to participate? We're going to be having a number of signups available in Europe and US, which are bring your own booster. If you're able to secure 4 standard boosters and 4 carbonite boosters for a effectively reduced entry fee, you'll still be able to get one of each of the promos. And again, these lovely one-ofs, as well as entry into the event. And there's going to be a limited number of seats in both the US and EU that are bring your own booster, in addition to the limited number of seats in the US, which come with the boosters. There's going to be a price difference between the two because in one of them, we're giving you 4 carbonite boosters and 4 standard packs, event entry, and 5 promos, and the other one is 5 promos and event entry.
So, a couple important things to jump in with.
Yeah.
So, first of all, like this is very much a test, right? So, no, Queen Amidala is the cool one.
I'm showing them off one at a time.
But Grievous is okay, fine.
Keep on talking, Tim. Don't get distracted by the shiny things.
Now I'm all distracted by you showing me the cards. Okay.
You
and yes,
have
we
them.
won't let Scott make decisions. That's a deal. Okay. So it's a test. The original idea was to just do it with the booster packs and just do it in North America and see how that works and then roll it out across the US. Or excuse me, across the world, starting in the US. What happened was that we got a bunch of boosters, but we have roughly 100, enough for 120 players. Okay. And I started thinking about that. And for a country the size of the US, 120 is not enough. I'm hoping, and so then I'm like, okay, what else do we do? And Jonah and I talked about it, and we came up with this option. Because I really do want to be the one who provides the booster packs, but it's not viable for me to. I can't get that quantity of carbonite easily, among other things. So so we're going to try that, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe people just want to enter the league and get the promos and aren't interested in the packs. But we'll see how this goes. And in Europe, because it's a relatively last minute thing, we've talked to Fanfinity briefly, but they're on vacation because it turns out people in Europe take vacations, and I'm actually deeply in favor of that. I'm just not good at doing it myself. So so yeah, so we everything in Europe right now, Europe, everything outside of the US is technically TBD. Okay.
Yes.
And and Jonah, we it's one per person, but I am absolutely fine with if somebody with a U well, if a Canadian judge wants to order from the US, as long as they're going to be able to find people to play. The challenge is going to be, if we will see what we have to do to make this work, because judges are not evenly distributed across the world, right? And
Certainly not.
so, yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, that's enough of my ramblings.
Fantastic. Um, well, that's the general structure of league play. You're going to play. It's going to go on. I believe the current plan is until either this is successful enough and we launch a lawless time judge league, um, or if we determine it's unsuccessful, we'll probably close it at some point during lawless time, and we'll make sure that we have an end date announced. Noctems asks, so then how long do I have to finish my L1 to be able to order these in the first wave? Tim, when are we going on sale with these?
I think today, I think we're going live on the 5th, but uh, treat that as an intention rather than a firm deadline.
Yes.
But I think it's going to be so in the US on the 5th is pretty solid. And I'll let you know about Europe later. And the US could go a couple days earlier, a couple days later. But I'm planning on the 5th.
Yes. Fantastic. Something that I'm going to encourage folks to do is record their pack openings. This isn't a super competitive league, and so having other people see what you've opened is entirely encouraged, and having people help you with deck building is something that I encourage. I did, in fact, record my pack opening. However, I was using my webcam, and this is the first time I've recorded a pack opening. Technology did not cooperate with me, so it is upside down, and roughly half the time the cards are half out of the frame. Um, so it's not great. I'll share it with y'all so you can see me opening my packs. But we want to encourage you to have fun with this. Something that I've talked about, and I haven't talked with Tim about this, is having it being an ongoing league where your first league you get the 8 packs, then each league after that you get a smaller number of packs and the promos, and you just keep on playing. Your deck keeps on expanding, and you get more and more signatures. Having a way to just continue to keep engaging is just really exciting to me.
Well,
But
we'll explore that more. The of course the problem with leagues is they tend to be winners get like the rich get richer, right?
yes,
And so and when everybody sees the cheaty ass deck that you busted open, they're all going to be afraid to play against you.
but you can trade. You can freely trade. And so if you have cards that you aren't playing in your pool, if you need more Queen Amidalas for whatever reason, you can trade for them. You can trade, notably, you can trade cards in your pool for cards in somebody else's pool and can play those cards. If you trade using cards that are not in your pool for cards that are in somebody's pool, you don't get to add those to your pool. Though you can add them to your collection, but you can't start playing with them. Uh,
Um, and do you want to tell everybody what you pulled
oh yeah,
when you were busting your pack?
we can talk about that in a second. DeCaniel says, I humbly request a forum on the Discord where people can create a thread for big events, regardless of games, so we can map out who is where for the league. There already exists a Secrets of Power dedicated Discord channel for Judge League. However, it's not public yet because nobody has their hands on the cards. Nobody has any pools. I'll probably open it up later today uh, so that you can see what's going on there. But I want to brag about my pool. I'm going to share the link to the upside down video in chat. Please don't leave the broadcast to go watch it now, but open it up in a tab and you can watch me open some cards and do a terrible commentary on pack opening later. But of course, we have our good friend Queen Amidala. And then
Wait. Let's just make it clear. Everybody gets to
Yeah,
play you get one of each of the promo
yeah,
cards. And so if you want to play those, right?
yes. So I
You
have
do have to sign them though.
do have to sign them and maybe trade them. Then, in I think my first or second pack, I opened a Queen Amidala. And then in my first Carbonite pack, I opened a foil Prestige Queen Amidala. And so I think I'm probably going to be playing something with Queen Amidala in it. Um, as a bonus, I also got a Hyperfoil Starship, which seems to go well with whatever I end up doing. Um,
So basically you need deck construction tips from the community, and you're going to smash everybody with 3 Queen Amidalas.
yeah. Please tell me how to win when I have 3 Queen Amidalas in my 30 card deck.
I think the way to win is draw Queen Amidala.
That does seem pretty good. But that's Judge League. If folks have any questions about Mr. Donovan, you're saying that that's insane, but have you opened a handful of Carbonite packs alongside? This is 8 pack sealed, half of which are Carbonite. Of course, the packs are going to be insane. But also,
Which
to be fair, yeah, this is ludicrous, and I am exceptionally glad that I recorded this because otherwise people would not believe me, and that's not a position I can be in.
so one of the things I'm going to want feedback on is we deliberately made it overpowered and hopefully fun as heck, right? But if it should be, I like the idea of throwing Carbonite in, but if should it be 2 packs of of normal boosters? Should it be 2 and 2, not 4 and 4? Because you opening up 8 packs to build a 30 card deck
It's going to
is
be
kind of
so good. I also have 2 of Luthen's Hallcraft, so I think I'm going green red heroism aggro and just trying to burn people down.
that seems good. Yeah. Okay. Jonah, um, oh, I think 4 standards and 2 carbs could be, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. Let's play the league and see what happens.
Yeah, and this is very experimental. We are excited to see what happens. I'm excited to play with a bunch of Amidalas. I'm excited to lose some number of Amidalas. Um, but I'm really hopeful that this goes well so that we can continue to do it and we can expand and make it even cooler in the future.
Yeah, so let's give it a try.
Yeah.
But with that, I think we're wrapping up, right? I mean,
Do we want to
this
talk
could
about
be
our hopes and dreams for the future in the upcoming year?
oh fudge. Um, not only am I not supposed to swear on the cast, but I've got my 12-year-old daughter. Wait, she's 13 now. My 13-year-old daughter in the room with me.
I mean, you know the
Hopes and
rules
dreams.
for PG-13 ratings in movies, right?
Yeah. So hopes and dreams. Um, I want to get a subject matter expert and a producer. And I want that real bad. Um, I want I desperately want everybody in Europe to make their VATs go away. And so, no, so that way I don't have to have people charge VAT and then be mad at me that they have to charge VAT. I want, what else do we want? I want, all I want for Christmas is, I want us to get the meetup set for next year, which we do not have. And we've got some business and accounting stuff to do before we can figure out budgets for traveling to meetups. I want to add two people to the team. Although I'd prefer to find a cloning tank and just clone Jonah.
Yeah, those are expensive.
Are they? I don't.
I
I mean,
think so. At least it's very
my
highly controlled technology.
my assumption was Palpatine would just loan them to us because he's a nice guy.
He doesn't seem like the loaning type.
There is that. So a couple more people on the team. Website looks better. Although just knowing that Scott's starting to work on that is that takes a bunch of pressure off me. Um, Shirts, figuring out other things to do with merch. I guess those are the main things. More meetups. We got to figure out a way to make meetups scale a little bit more. We don't need to go insane like we did with Magic and have 300 meetups a year, but more. I think
Yeah. So
those are mine. Those are my priorities. How about yours?
well, over the
Right.
last year, we released the L2 content, ambassador content, um, scorekeeper content, updated L1 and L2 content for Legends of the Force, and then updated it all again for Secrets of Power with the revised policy documents and the competitive event guide. Um, Worked on the competitive event guide, which I think will help a lot. Um, and so I have been. My goal was after L2 was released, spend some time doing polishing and quality of life stuff on a bunch of things, but instead it became release ambassador, release scorekeeper, update policy lessons. So I haven't gotten to take that time to do polishing that I would like. And so there's probably going to be some amount of time where you don't see a ton of brand new content. Um, the website is going to have some pretty significant layout and navigation updates this year. And yes, I do realize that I am talking at 6 p.m. on December 30th. When I say this year, I do mean 2025. It's not going to have graphical changes, but there are going to be some layout improvements to make it a little bit easier for people to find things, especially as a new user. You experienced users are going to get lost because you already know where everything is hidden, but I'm going to unhide things and you're now no longer going to know where things are. But hopefully it'll be a little bit more intuitive to figure that out. Um, so that's a big goal. I want to figure out how to make the older lessons just better. Um, I think I think a lot of it will come with having a video producer, um, somebody who has skills and insights that I do not have, where we can have better visual representations of whatever I'm talking about, have improved the quality of the scripts. That's something that I can do, but I don't know how to format the videos without knowing what capabilities we'll have in that video production line. Um, that's going to be important to me. Um, Making each of the lesson pages just look better. That's something that I'm working with Scott on, our graphic designer, to make the website look better. Those are all short-term goals. Um, I want to double the size of the question pool for L1 and L2, um, or at the very least create comparable pools for practice questions, um, so that you can take an L1 practice exam to determine whether or not you're ready for the L1 exam, so that that cooldown is a little bit less intimidating. Same for level 2. I want to create a bunch of lessons that are explicitly focused on policy scenarios. Now that policy is a lot more objective and a little bit less subjective, it's going to be easier to write those sorts of questions. Similarly, dealing with I'm reading chat and I'm distracting myself, which is a thing that I need to learn how to get better at. Either having two separate brains or just stop reading for a second. Um, Lessons, questions, making everything better. I want to do that. Um, I do want to get to L3. My anticipation is the early L3 lessons late in Q1 or early in Q2. Um, in my ideal world, L3 happens after we've been able to hire a subject matter expert, so that I'm able to work with that person to help develop that to a more robust level and have a better starting product. I know that whatever I come up with will be a very reasonable starting place, but I want to do everything short of perfection is irrelevant is just a line that plays in my head from Path of Exile, and I know that that's not true, but honestly, everything short of perfection can be improved, and so we're going to try and make it better. Um, so L3 is on the list. I There's a question in chat saying, is there any local OP plans to possibly boost local store attendance? So I can't talk about what FFG Organized Play plans to do that they haven't announced yet, for a variety of reasons. Part of it is I don't know it, but a larger part of it is if they haven't announced it yet, we're not going to be the ones who announce it. I would love to see things. I would love to support local play and strengthen the ambassador program to help encourage the growth of local organized play. Um, Adding another level to the scorekeeper certification that'll prepare people to run planetary qualifiers as a scorekeeper is something that I would love to do. That might not be a 2026 thing. That might just be a pipe dream. Um, there's a lot going on.
No, Joan, I think we've got a lot that
There's a
could
lot that I
really,
want
I
to
mean,
do.
there's a lot that could happen on the ambassador side too.
Um, Mr. McCheesy asks, is there an L1 practice exam? Right now, there is not. The closest thing to an L1 practice exam is the apprentice exam. The mastery exams, I would not say are practice exams because there are those are not designed to be a particular judge level, and so there will be questions about relaxed policy and competitive policy. There will be apprentice level rules questions, L1 level rules questions, and level 2 level rules questions, and so those aren't great as a source of practice, but I do want to develop practice exams. Also, more meetups. Oh, yeah. I want to develop um, tools so that you can run workshops, whether they be policy workshops where you get to have experience with practical calls and a couple of judge actors run a game and play a game, and they're like, hey judge, we have this issue, and you get to have that real interaction with players without the stress of having to actually deal with players. Developing presentations that people can take on the road, as Tim was saying, make our meetups better, um, so that it doesn't just have to be where I or Tim are available, but creating a resource and structure for meetups to be run without us is something that I would love to see happen. Um, and part of that is developing resources and structure for workshops and presentations, doing deck checks workshops so people can get experience doing a deck checks before they have a random stranger's deck in their hands at an event and there's a clock ticking. Getting the opportunity to sit down with a mentor and be like, okay, there's a problem with this deck. How do I figure it out? What's the best way to sort that sort of thing? That's all stuff that I want to help support. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it?
So that's what I want to do in the upcoming year.
That sounds very
Swoo
good to me.
Plan B says, got time to flesh out the charity event information. Tim, do you want to talk about charity events for a minute?
I do, although I'm trying to work. So I have an intention of I have an intention of figuring out a way to support charity events. Um, we okay. I don't have the program fully designed yet, but I can tell you some parts that are gonna be part of it when we're ready to really roll this out. Uh, First of all, so the event has to be for charity, right? Uh, so helping your local store be more successful does not count as charity. Politics. I am intensely political. I might be the most political person you ever meet. I am way into politics. Politics is not charity. I get that people care about it desperately, but I am not jumping into the fight of, hey, this political group's okay to support and this one's not. So, what is charity? Charity is something that feeds people, gives blood to injured people, Red Cross, Red Crescent, uh, prevention of cruelty to animals, stuff like that, right? Not the Republican or Democratic Party, right? So, charity is so we will have so it's for charity. Um, I'm trying to figure out what the level of foil support would best be for that. Oh, other thing, charity is not you as a judge, right? The judges need to be willing to donate their time for the charity for us to be willing to donate foils to to build players. What and I guess if the tournament organizer wanted to pay you, that's okay. But the promos but we are not going to get in a world where we're providing promos for judges to work charity events. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Um, I am completely allergic to paying people if I'm not your employer. So that one just will never happen. Um, we're going to have a form, and what will happen is that people will submit it describing their event, and then I will send some level of support out to support the event. Jonah and I are debating, although not super actively, but I'd be delighted to get your feedback today of how far in advance people think this is reasonable to plan these events. Um, because I don't have a fulfillment operation. And so likely what's happening is every Friday at the office, I'm stopping what I'm doing and sending stuff out. But occasionally that shipping's going to slip a week or whatever. So I'm thinking that the tournament organizers should be contacting us something like 2 months in advance. Jonah, on the other hand, says that's way too far of lead time and nobody's going to do that. So, what do you all think?
And while you answer that, I'm going to scroll up to a question asked by McFerguson, which says, as new exams come out, is there going to be any additional plans for beta testers at the question pool to prevent someone failing an exam based on confusing wording or available answers not lining up, as opposed to the current state of people just taking the exam and throwing problems at Jonah? So
I like watching him throw things at Jonah. He gets this super stressed out look on his face. It's fun.
do I?
No, not really. No, you don't.
um, so there are a couple challenges here. One is if we have people do work for us and asking somebody to take an exam to provide feedback is me asking them to do work. Want to compensate them for that. Second, if I give somebody early access to, say, the level 3 exam before they're a level 3, there is
That
a,
can't happen.
there will be questions about fairness of actually taking the exam when it becomes available. Um,
Yes, yes, there will. Sorry. Keep going, Jonah.
which is something that I want to avoid. That's less of a problem for expanding question pools for earlier exams, so adding questions to the L1 and L2 exam. Um, it is easier to go to existing L2s and be like, hey, there's this project of here are some number of questions for you to review. Um, However, one of the goals is to have subject matter expert in house help review. Um, that is part of their goal is to help make the tests better. I also do want to note that I believe the incidence rate of errors or ambiguity in exams has decreased dramatically. Um, the L1 exam had a fair number of questions about it. The L2 exam, despite being similar in scope, had many, many fewer questions or concerns about exam questions, to be a little bit more precise in my language. And so I'm not saying the problem has gone away. There were definitely a couple places in the scorekeeper exam where the correct answer just wasn't saved on the back end, and so people got the question wrong even though they selected the correct answer. Um, Having a little bit more QA would be great. That is one of the things that having more bodies would allow us to do. Uh, but right now, like with the current state of things, can't really do it. In the future, we're going to have an expanded team. There's going to be more internal checks. When we expand to practice exams or expand question pools, there are more options there because there are people who already have the certification and therefore don't need to take the exam who can look at those exams. And part of it, another step is using the mastery exams to test questions. At some point, I'm going to take down the jump to light speed exam and take questions from that and throw some of them at the apprentice pool, some at the level 1 pool, and some at the level 2 pool. And at that point, they'll have been tested thoroughly. Um, Also, to note, if there is an error with an exam question and it causes correcting that error causes a person to pass, um, I am able to adjust the outcome of the exam. That has happened exceptionally infrequently, um, usually because a person has failed by more than one question or because um, the language is not perfect. But for some questions, I look at the language and pass rate on the statistics of the question itself. And I'm like, I can see where you're coming from, how this is ambiguous. I can improve the question. However, 80% of people pick this, get this answer despite the ambiguity. And so while the question might be changed, the test result does remain. And so there's a lot to the process. It's something that I want to improve. I want to make sure that every exam question, when somebody gets it, is perfect. Um, but even questions that have been read by two or three people still have some ambiguity. I got some feedback on, I think, a level 2 exam question uh, earlier this week, which is, 4 or 5 months after it released. And a lot of people have seen that question. I think at this point it had been seen, the question in particular had been seen like 50 or 60 times, and nobody had raised this question about this ambiguity before. And so even having a stable of people to look over the question doesn't mean everything will be caught. Um, so yeah, it's something that I'd like to do. There's some logistical difficulties for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. Okay. I any other things we should cover?
You were going to be answering something. Oh yeah, we were getting answers of uh, how long people need planning for
What is
charity
this?
events.
Yeah, there was one for and one against, but if you sit in for question development review, you get the cert because you demonstrated your mastery. Yeah, I after we have a cadre of level threes or level three higher, then using those folks as a finding a way to compensate them for feedback on specific areas like judge tests. Maybe that's something we can look at then.
Yeah, and it's definitely how I get my certifications. Right, like I take the exam and I pass because I know all of the answers, but also I know the answers because I wrote the questions. It's it's a complicated situation, um, and one of the important things is we want to avoid uh, the perception, much less a reality of bias. And I know that many people would understand. Yes, some people get access to the exam and consequently get the certification. However,
Yeah.
as the certifications continue to expand, there are going to be non objective measures of advancement. Uh, they're going to be, for example, uh, it might require having written some reviews or tournament reports. It might require event experience. It's not just have you passed this exam or not. Um, and at that point, it becomes you still have to take the exam separate from the rest of the advancement process, and it gets a little weird. It's something that I've considered, but right now it's something that we don't have the logistics for. But
Okay.
I think that's everything on my end. If anybody has any last minute questions, Tim and I can go on a tangent, I'm sure. But other
We
than
do
that,
seem to have that skill set somehow.
it's something that I think we've really honed and developed over time. It's something that I've studied for, just talking
Oh yeah.
about whatever is happening.
Well, that's what your university degree is in, right?
No, that I mean, my degree was in game design and narrative, but that's just what I wrote on the diploma because they let me do that for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why they let you do that, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. With
Tim, you doing
that happy,
SDCC?
what's that?
Mad Dog Max asks if you are doing SDCC again. Same weekend
Yes,
as the
yes, I
Galactic
am.
Championships. You don't want to hang out with us. I understand.
I am so frustrated that I don't get to do both, um,
I mean, you could just
but
drive
some,
back and forth. They're not that far away.
I last year I almost snuck out on Sunday and went to the Galactic Championships, and then, as you know, I did go to Vegas for Monday to meet with you and some other judges,
Maybe visit
but
on
that's not.
Sunday.
What's that? Yeah, just yeah. How hard could it be to wrap up a convention, really?
Yeah, it can't be that difficult. Anyways,
Yeah. Okay. I
thank
think
you
we're
all
wrapped up
so
though.
much, and we'll see you in the new year.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Bye.